The track maintenance crew here at Belmont Park never stops working to manicure this beautiful Belmont Park to make it as safe as possible for the horses that are contesting the races. It's Thursday, October 15th, and we had another great day of racing. Maggie Wolfendale, I'm Richard Migliore. How about this weather, Maggie?
Oh my gosh, we're getting so lucky. It's hard to believe that winter is going to be right around the corner, but I'll take it as of now. We are riding out of Belmont truly in style as far as weather.
Let's live in the moment. It's beautiful. We've got that soft autumn light. We don't want that starkness of winter just yet, particularly on this outside set. Maggie Breeders' Cup right around the corner, and a lot of activity going on with Breeders' Cup horses. And we'll start talking about Beholder, who had her last Santa Anita breeze before the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, actually, I think she's going to breeze one more time before shipping out next week on the 19th here. And actually, both her and American Pharoah out on the track at the same time at about 6:50 or 35 a.m. this morning. And Beholder, once again, with her easy breeze. And I mean that because they gave her a mark of breezing, which they're very stingy with out in California. 102 flat and easy as she could go, and Mandela saying she couldn't look much better.
Yeah, and she doesn't need much. She's been in very good form recently. Recent races. She's not coming off of 6 weeks or 8 weeks. She just ran in the Zenyatta and galloped out 3/4 in 16. But Gary Stevens doesn't move a muscle on her. I got to watch the work this morning.
Yeah.
Just as easy as you could do it.
I mean, she's just in raging form as of now. And really, you have to give credit to trainer Richard Mandela for what he's done with this mare. I mean, she's going to be one of the first ones to take down Breeders' Cup juvenile fillies as a 2-year-old, Breeders' Cup distaff 2 years ago, and now she's going for the Classic this year.
Yeah, pretty big game she's going for, but she's shown she belongs. If she runs her Pacific Classic, she's right in the mix. Well, all the talk is about fillies and mares today, and we had some action here on the East Coast, albeit in 2 locations, cavorting a half a mile on the training track this morning here at Belmont.
Yeah, and that's where she had her breeze last week, or I think that's where she's been training as far as being down here at Belmont. She went in 49-2, and she is pointing to the filly and mare sprint. This 3-year-old filly, I think, she's pretty talented, and she's going to be a short price in there when you consider the field.
And she's got the right style. She comes from off the pace, usually 7 furlongs. There's a lot of pace up front. Exactly. And she seems like she takes the kickback. She'll run anywhere. Pretty nice filly.
I think you're completely right. I think she fits perfectly in that spot.
Well, the Breeders' Cup distaff wedding toast, also Kira McLaughlin, but she trained 200 miles north of here on the Green Tree training track, going right-handed.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can elaborate a little bit on that, Richie. She did go 49-3 up there at Green Tree. And have you worked horses the wrong way over there before?
I have never worked horses there the wrong way. I have worked horses the wrong way, rode the wrong way in Hong Kong. It's a little bit different, especially when you're used to making lefts your whole life. But Kieran feels like it really helps them because they put as much pressure on one side as the other. Instead of always running around a turn on their left lead, they get to do something different. It's probably good for them mentally, too.
Exactly. I agree. I was actually having a discussion with Mike Hushin probably a couple years ago about how we kind of train over here, and that we should have a certain amount of time possibly on the training track where horses do go the opposite way, because you're right. It really kind of helps keep them sound, helps keep them versatile, keeps those muscles balanced as well. So it's a great facility that Kieran is very lucky enough to have.
Well, and speaking of that facility, Frosted will be having his work there tomorrow, and our own Jason Blewett headed up north to cover it.
He is so lucky. He's going up to Saratoga. It is a bit cooler there, it must be said. So I hope he brought a big jacket because he will be freezing. But how cool is it to go watch Frosted with one of his final preps for the Breeders' Cup up at Green Tree?
Yeah, Saratoga this time of year wouldn't have to twist my arm either.
That's very true.
Well, let's get to the live racing action today, or actually taped action from the live racing earlier today. Race 8, a good field of hard-hitting sprinters going 6 on the turf.
They're off. And it's Joe Franklin on the inside who comes out running on the lead with Choctaw Chuck away in second. These two up the backstretch, 1-2 Iroquois Girl third. The Night Officer, Dowses Beach, is fifth early on here and racing 6 lengths off the lead. The trailers are Tripsky and Pulling G's. It's Joe Franklin in front. Leads the way into the far turn by 1.5 lengths and runs by the first quarter mile in 22 seconds flat. Choctaw Chuck is second to the outside. Iroquois Girl third near the rail. Then it's Night Officer fourth. Dow's Beach is still about 5.5 lengths behind, midway on the far turn. And then it's Tripsky and Pulling G's. And they're steadily making their way toward the top of the stretch here with Joe Franklin in front and Choctaw Chuck second. As they turn for home, the half mile is in 45 seconds flat. It is still Joe Franklin, Choctaw Chuck to the outside. Night Officer is starting to bear down on the front runners. Then Iroquois Girl. Dow's Beach with a lot of work to do. And then Tripsky to the outside. It is Joe Franklin holding on to the lead close to home. Iroquois Girl running late. On the outside is Night Officer. Joe Franklin all the way. Over Iroquois Girl, Night Officer, and Tripsky.
Maggie, Joe Franklin was talented on the dirt, but it seems like he's found a real home on the turf.
I always kind of thought this guy would like the turf. I mean, he is a son of Bernstein, and most of them do prefer the turf over the dirt. Good job by David Jacobson and having this horse ready to fire. Also, a very good ride by Jose Ortiz. He is riding with the utmost confidence right now to send this horse, put him on the lead, got away with fairly soft fractions considering they're turf sprinters, and just put them all to sleep.
Yeah, Jose's been riding great, but I think sometimes having post one is liberating when you're on a speed horse because basically, I'm going to go. You guys figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. I think you couldn't be asked for a better post position if you know your horse has speed.
Well, Maggie, I had an opportunity to catch up with winning trainer David Jacobson right after the Winner's Circle presentation. David, Joe Franklin was really impressive. He's 2 for 2 on the grass now, and he was running well on the dirt. Why'd you try him on the grass?
Just an experiment. We really didn't have a lot of places to run him at Monmouth because of his conditions. The grass race came up. I spoke with James Costabile, one of the partners with Final Turn. And we took a shot, and he liked it. I didn't think he liked it this much, but he really impressed us today.
What do you do with him now, though? Do you keep him on the turf, or are you going to shop for something else?
Well, I just said to text James, it looks like we're going to Florida. But, we'll look for, we'll look to keep him here in New York as long as we can. And, of course, I guess we'll keep him on the grass for as long as we can.
Yeah, he really looked good in the Winner's Circle, too. Nice-looking horse. Speaking of nice horses, you have a couple that you're looking at the Breeders' Cup. Who might you take there?
Well, Saludos Amigos is a definite room for me. Is almost definitely going to go. And a big question mark with Stalwalking Dude.
And what will be the final determination for all of them?
Just when we get to the pre-entry day, if we feel that they're all ready to go, we'll, put our money down and get our plane tickets.
Well, congratulations here and best of luck down there.
Thanks, Trish.
Well, interesting. He's got potentially 3 Breeders' Cup horses heading that direction. We'd be remiss not to mention Dow's Beach, the favorite in this race, Maggie, breaking through the stall doors before the start.
Yeah, and we were just talking that you don't see many horses be able to recover after doing that. It kind of drops the adrenaline with them, and it doesn't ever seem as though they're comfortable or they are as sharp as they were prior to doing that.
Yeah, it seems like there's all that energy built up, like you're saying, that adrenaline, and then it kind of lets out in one burst, and then all the air's out of the balloon. And listen, he didn't have to win, but he didn't even show any speed early.
Yeah, and he didn't even run his race, period, here, Richie. I mean, he's a nice horse. He's won from off the pace before, but he was completely flat in the stretch.
And maybe it was breaking through the gate, or maybe you just can't run that many good ones in a row. Let's head to race 3. We got good older horses going a mile. Larry Colmus has got your call.
They're off. Finding Candy bounce out of there quickly for the front. Bellarmine comes through on the inside and Integrity's on the outside of them. These 3 out for the lead together. Box Office came out running in 4th. And then it's Good Time Had by All. And Read the Prospectus trails the field as they head up the backstretch with Bellarmine in front and Integrity prompting the pace on the outside and neck back through a 23 flat opening quarter mile. Break of another 2 lengths back to Box Office and Finding Candy right together. Good Time Had by All 5.5 lengths off the lead and a half length ahead of Read the Prospectus as the field heads for the far turn. Bellarmine and Integrity. And these 2 are going at it up front. Bellarmine shakes away a half a length. Integrity comes right back at him. 46-1 for a half mile. They're stride for stride now once again. And Box Office is just off of them, a length and 3/4 from the front. Finding Candy is down on the inside, running along in 4th position. Then it's Good Time Had by All and Read the Prospectus. And they're coming toward the top of the stretch. Integrity and Bellerman. Integrity has taken the lead, and Bellerman has come under a ride. And then comes Box Office, Finding Candy to the outside. Good Time Had by All 5th, 3/4, 1:10-2. Into the stretch, Integrity and Jose Ortiz come by the 8th pole in front by 2.5 lengths. And then it's Box Office on the outside. Bellerman down toward the rail. Switching out is Finding Candy for a late run, but it is Integrity. Integrity under the wire in front. And then it was Box Office, Bellerman, and Finding Candy.
Maggie, Integrity looked like a winner every step of the way, poised on the outside, and I guess a meaningful drop in class for him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look back at his last 2 races off the claim there for Rudy. He needed this 40, and he got it, and he made easy work of this field here, Richie. And paying $9, I thought, was fairly generous on a horse who, yes, you question his last race, but he had so much back class against this field, and the way he won, it kind of proved that.
And I think when you get that kind of trip going a mile, sitting outside, you get so comfortable that long run down the backstretch. And you know what? We can talk about Javier Castellano and all of his victories. Sometimes a rider shows me more when they run second, and he ran second on Box Office because he never gave up. And sometimes it means so much to the people that are wagering exactas or, exotics.
So much to the connections, too.
So much to the connections.
It drives me insane when I see a rider like, oh, give it a couple taps on the shoulder. He's not accelerating that much, and then just wrap up. I'm like, really? Like, that's not what you're out there to do.
Well, you weren't getting that from the leading rider in the country, Javier Castellano. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back with the second segment of Insider.
Now you can enjoy your favorite pro and fantasy football teams while playing the races in style as Longshots welcomes back NFL Sunday Ticket. With over 400 HD TVs, 270 individual carols, a full-service sports bar and food menu, Longshots is the place to catch all the great racing and football action. So come on out, bring your friends, bring your league to Longshots, located on the 2nd floor at Aqueduct.
Speaking of Javier Castellano, there he is looking very serious here in the Ramsey colors.
He was giving some instructions, I think, to the connections instead of them giving him the instructions.
Well, when you're leading rider, you can do that. Empire Showcase Day, one of my favorite days of the year, Saturday, October 24th, and you can get your Garden Terrace reservations at 188-516-NYRA. And Maggie, to me, it's always like a dress rehearsal for the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, it's our own little Breeders' Cup as far as New York breds are concerned. I love this day, Richie. I mean, you have so many hard-knocking New York breds, hanging around in each of the divisions, and even the up-and-coming ones as far as the 2-year-olds are concerned. So it's such a great days of racing, and we'll have coverage as well on MSG.
That's right. We'll be doing that show, and actually that was a lot of talk earlier. We're going to have some production meetings about that, hopefully present racing in its best light. We'll talk about best light, mile and 3/8 on the turf, race 6. And I like these turf marathons. And speaking of turf marathons, they're out for a little run.
That's not what we'll be seeing in race number 7.
Yeah. No, I'm not calling any of these horses a
6.
dog.
They're off. And it's Hollywood Idol who comes out running on the lead. On the far outside, All For Us is away running in 2nd position. And down toward the inside, it's Hyper, who settles into stride in 3rd early on. And they're being followed by Mr. Maybe in 4th, and Dorset to the outside 5th by 2. Then Slide Tom to the inside of Umgio. We come back another 2 lengths to Rochadoro, and Duck Stock is last of them all. So they make their way into the first turn here, a 23-4 opening quarter mile for Hollywood Idol and Jose Ortiz. They were quick out of the gate here, and they're going to open up about 4 lengths on the field. All For Us is running in 2nd, and then it's Hyper 3rd to the inside as they make their way toward the backstretch. Dorset follows in 4th, a good 7 lengths off of this front runner who's nearly 5 in front now. And then it's Mr. Maybe, Sly Tom to the outside, Gio and Rochadoro, and Duck Stock at the back. 48 flat was the first half mile. So they're on to the backstretch. And all alone up here is Hollywood Idol, isolated up front, 5 lengths ahead of the rest up the backstretch. And then it's All For Us who's second and has cut the gap now to 3 lengths up the backstretch. And then comes Hyper, followed by Sly Tom to the outside. And Dorset is right there. Now they're getting closer. After that, it's Gio, Mr. Maybe to the inside, Rochadoro, and Duck Stock. And 3/4 went in 1:13 flat. So a bit of a breather here for Hollywood Idol, who heads into the far turn and is going to kick on again here to lead by almost 2. All For Us is running in second. Sly Tom. On the inside comes Hyper. Dorset is right there too. And then it's Mr. Maybe, Rochadoro. Gio's under a drive. And Duck Stock at the back of the field. Still Hollywood Idol. A mile and 1:37 flat. They're into the stretch. Hollywood Idol on top all the way so far. And will come into the final furlong trying to fend off the competition. Mr. Maybe's coming up on the outside now. And farther out it's Dorset. Mr. Maybe cruising on by. Arad Ortiz Jr. and Mr. Maybe have taken over. And they are taking off for the wire as Hollywood Idol holds second. Mr. Maybe wins it by about 4.5 over Hollywood Idol. And then it was Dorset third.
No doubt about the winner in race 6. Mr. Maybe ran away and hit under a beautiful ride from Irad Ortiz.
I was just going to say, you couldn't ask for a better ride from Irad. He saved ground all the way around there, and then did get lucky enough that he could just tip out. And Mr. Maybe, well, he answered all the questions with a yes, definitely.
Yeah, when you've got that much horse, so it's like driving a car in rush hour traffic, and he did everything absolutely perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And it was unfortunate to see that Hyper unable to get back to the form he once had, or even the couple races that he had coming off that long layoff. So possibly earning a retirement with that effort.
Yeah, Hyper, just not the Hyper that we saw in the distant past now. Let's head to race 7, a mile and 16th on the Widener. And good hard-hitting claimers here. Larry Colmus, as they leave the gate.
Joe comes out running quickly. Comes the Dream is away running in second. Marvino is out third. And then it's Inventor's Gate to the inside of Andaluside. Why Not Whiskey in between horses. And Not Goliath going up on the far outside. And then it's Harpoon and Dream Man. On to the backstretch they go. And it is Cup of Joe, joined on the lead by Marvino. These two a neck apart through an opening quarter mile. It goes up in 24 and 1/5 seconds. Break of another 2 lengths to comes the Dream. On the outside, it's Not Goliath, and then Andaluside along the rail. Why Not Whiskey is 5 lengths off the lead and just inside of Harpoon up the backstretch. And then it's Inventor's Gate, followed by Dream Man, who's last of them all. Cup of Joe, amped up today in front by 3/4 of a length over Marvino through a half mile in 47 and 4/5 seconds. It's Cup of Joe by a length. Marvino is running in second. Andalusite is third on the inside. And then it's Not Goliath fourth on the outside, followed by Comes the Dream in between horses. Why Not Whiskey is down on the inside as they round the far turn. It is still Cup of Joe. Cup of Joe, the leader, prompted by Marvino the whole way so far. And these two will come toward the top of the stretch together. Not Goliath is closing 3 wide. Andalusite is right behind horses as they come toward the top of the stretch. Comes the Dream is right there in mid-pack as well. And now 2 grays are coming. Dream Man and Harpoon are both putting in their runs. And Dream Man is closing fast at a big price on the outside. Dream Man is taking the lead. Dream Man is 33-1. And he's in front, coming down to the line. It's going to be Dream Man, and a big upset here. Over comes the Dream. And then it was Harpoon, followed by a photo between Marvino and Why Not Whiskey.
Maggie, hard to come up with Dream Man with his current form, but he certainly ran big, and rounding out the all-sleepy exacta here comes the Dream second.
Yeah, and rounding out the gray double here for races 6 and 7. And it paid pretty big as well. But yeah, Dream Man going first time out for Mark Henning. Great job with this guy here with Junior Alvarado on the irons.
Well, maybe that was the key to it. Mark Henning looking good in the paddock. Looked like, maybe he was dressed for a win as well. So good to see that. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, we got a couple more races to go. 1, 2, 4, 5, and 9 in rapid succession.
We're going on at the top of the stretch after a 46 1/2 mile. Captain Moss and Little Distorted 1-2. Hillbilly Style. Spearhead not going on today. Into the final furlong. Captain Moss still there. Captain Moss by 2.5 lengths now over Hillbilly Style, who has taken second from Little Distorted. Captain Moss has got it close to home, and Captain Moss is the winner. It's going to be close for second here. Bobbing heads under the wire, Hillbilly Style and Little Distorted, and that was Natural Order. Success. Under the Rain is given way on the inside. A 46 1/2 mile. And now Irad Ortiz brings Comet 62 to the outside of the front runners and is going to try to run them down in the last furlong. And here is Comet 62, who takes the lead right now. And from the back of the pack, Esther the Queen has run up into second. Then Yes for Success and Autumn Squall. Comet 62 won it by 3. Then Esther the Queen, Yes for Success and Autumn Squall. And Insta Irma takes over. 3/4 and 1/13 flat. They're into the stretch, and it's Insta Irma, who is now the leader. Moe's Ginny's going to try to make a race of it, though. Insta Irma trying to hold off Moe's Ginny on the outside. And then it's Sassy Spirit, who's come through into third. Insta Irma has kicked away from Moe's Ginny now. Insta Irma and Junior Alvarado on their way to victory here over Moe's Ginny. Then Sassy Spirit and Fooled by Magic. The top of the stretch, where it's Banker's Boss heading Tis for Daddy, but Summer Dancer comes up alongside of them and goes on by Summer Dancer. Summer Dancer and Manny Franco pulling away. And from far behind, Jacobs here, who was dead last, is moving in the center of the track up into second. But it is Summer Dancer in the clear from Jacobs here. Coming down to the line, Summer Dancer by 2. Jacobs here second. Talk Time got up third. Then Lieutenant Dale. On the inside, they're coming to the top of the stretch. And it is Updraft. Updraft is taking the lead on the outside. Doc Curlin is closing in on the far outside. And right between those two comes My Giant, who's now third as Doc Curlin takes the lead. Doc Curlin to the front, leaving My Giant behind. On the far outside, Invisible Crown is finishing well and is now second. It is Doc Curlin to beat Invisible Crown. My Giant ends up third, and fourth was Bunco Dinero.
Well, Maggie, there was a couple of long shots, but I think Dream Man certainly guaranteed a pick six carryover of over $17,000.
Yeah, there was somebody alive to the 2 in the very last race, but that wasn't happening with Doc Curlin taking the finale here. And so, yeah, as you said, pick six carryover heading into the Friday card.
Something to look forward to, and the riders kind of spread it around today. Several guys, or 3 guys with 2 wins each, but Irad Ortiz and Jose Ortiz continue to blaze the way. Javier Castellano and Joel Rosario right in behind them. Chad Brown, a 2-win afternoon today, and putting a lot more separation between him and Todd Pletcher. Linda Rice right behind Todd in third. And we had a couple of claims, but Godolphin Racing is on the board there. And I'm still most impressed, honestly, with the Generazio family breeding their own racing. What a year they're having.
They're having a tremendous year. And with Christophe Clement and with Jimmy Ryerson. Jimmy Ryerson's having one heck of a latter half of 2015.
Yeah, he really is. And every day it seems like we have a lot of claiming going on. I guess guys starting to claim now with Aqueduct in mind, Maggie.
With Aqueduct, or possibly if they want to go south for some turf horses. But, boy, we did have a lot of claims. There are backwards there. Somebody did reach in and take Spearhead, Linda Rice. He just did not fire at all for Christophe Clement in race number 1.
Well, with all the success that Antonino Miuccio has had with horses like Palace, you got to think they'll figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. And Marvino going back to George Weaver.
We'll get one more break as we went from back to front with the claims and then front to back again. We'll be back with more Insider in a few moments. Well, Maggie, we've got some interesting racing tomorrow. Let's start off with race 7. New York Bred's going a mile, and we're looking at Uncle Si in the Gotham. Is it the same Uncle Si?
That's exactly what I was just going to say. His last 2 races are saying not really. I mean, he did run well coming off the bench in his first start, but still, he should have won that day. I mean, albeit Drama King is a nice horse when he does show up. He does get back out to a mile, which I think should help him around this one turn. I did not love his last race at all. He got away slowly. And I don't know, it just didn't look as though he was ever comfortable. But this is a pretty easy field other than horse to his inside in Bellamy Way and the other horse in this race, which is Colorado Grand Slam, who seems to kind of, you know, he is speed. There's other speed in here. I don't know if he's exactly going to get his setup, but he's been a consistent type for Mike Hushin.
Well, he's consistent. He also gets the rail, which, again, takes kind of the question out of the equation.
Go?
Let him right. Run at Bellamy Way. He adds blinkers off a really good Albany, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he ran in kind of spots, though, Richie. As we'll see him here, he kind of accelerates and he drops back. And he accelerates and he kind of drifts all over the track. And I don't know why, but he does put blinkers on. I don't think he's going to be able to get the lead. I don't think he's that fast, especially going a one-turn mile. But I do think he's a talented horse. And he's shown a dimension, especially watching that last race, that he can sit off of a pace.
Well, maybe with the blinkers on, it'll make him more focused and make that run a little more continuous as opposed to stop and go.
Exactly.
Well, we got fillies and mares going 1 mile and 3 furlongs on the inner turf in race number 8, and we're looking at Chrysolet. I believe I'm saying that correctly.
Wow, you're fancy. Larry Colmus is always great with his French pronunciations. I always have to learn from him as well, but we'll see. Chrysol's here. This is not her race, but we're checking. Oh, there we go. That is her. I'm sorry. But Julien Leparoux was unable to get out, and I felt like he was just stymied down on the inside. He did have an opportunity, I thought, to maybe get her out into position prior to turning for home, but just never happened.
No, it just never seemed like she was comfortable two in between horses. Going 1 mile and 3 furlongs, she should be able to work out a much better trip.
Yeah, don't ask me why. I thought she was a gray filly. That's why I was saying it's not her race. But you're right. I think she's more suited to going possibly this distance, though she never really was that successful going very long over in Europe. So that kind of puts question marks in my mind as well.
Yeah, 1.25 miles, 2 starts there, but it was a grade 1 and a grade 2. I'm going to count on the class relief helping her out in that respect, but you never know until they do it. But also we've got the one horse, evidently, who had a good race here going 1.25 miles in the springtime, or actually the summer in July. Can she get the 1 mile and 3 furlongs?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to check out this race where she was DQ'd. I mean, her and Joelle Mazzari just pulled through the rest of the field here. We'll see her in the brown and yellow silks in between horses. And the thing is, though, Richie, is I thought she's run very well. I mean, considering the competition that she had in her last 2 grade 3 outings, I think this might be an easier spot. And if she can get back to that race that she had here in July, she should be pretty tough.
Yeah, I really don't think the distance is a question mark with her, and the fact that she is getting that class relief going this 1 mile and 3/8 makes her a contender. Bishop's Pond coming off a race at Monmouth where it was an extremely fast pace.
Yeah, exactly. I like Pine Needles coming out of this one here for Christophe Clement. She did get a bit of a pace to run into, but I think she's a talented filly, and I like where she draws as well.
Well, they're not going to get that kind of pace. We'll see how they do it, but we'll all be back here tomorrow, all of us trying to look for a winner, and we'll more racing here at 12:55.